Boise State has the key to disrupting college football, and his name is Ashton Jeanty. Now look, I don't know how some people are just now finding out about this guy. Last year, we found out who he was for sure. All-American list galore. PFF's #1 grading running back. Led the running backs in receiving yards. Basically, him and Ollie Gordon, 1A, 1B. People are also talking about a Marion Hampton at North Carolina. After this Saturday, I don't think it's a question anymore. I believe it's Ashton Jeanty is the best running back in college football. I was talking about him this summer as well, believing he was. And I was saying you could possibly make him interchangeable. It's no question. 6 touchdowns, set a new school record and matched a Mountain West Conference record for most rushing touchdowns in a single game. Career high 267 rushing yards on 20 carries. So look, you see that and you're like, oh, they must have blown him out. Look, this Georgia Southern game from a Boise State fan perspective, was closer than it should have been. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is a game that I think if you played again this next week, you probably win by 30. Okay, it was 28-9 at one point for Boise State. And then the defense should not have happened, just let up, and it was too easy for Georgia Southern to go down the field and score before half. And then Georgia Southern got the ball after half, and then you have that really dumb penalty. Boise State was really undisciplined in this game. The defense seemed too lax. The coaches seemed to be going through the motions once they got the lead, and I think that was an issue, especially defensively. But it's 28-16. Georgia Southern, it looks like you're going to have them in a 3rd and long inside their own territory. And then you get a roughing, I believe it was roughing the passer, a personal foul on that. And that opened the game back up because that sparked the drive for Georgia Southern. You saw the air come back into them. They're all pumped up. The players are like, yeah. They have a big play right after that. They go down and score. Next thing you know, it's a 1-possession game. And then you have the 4th and 1 where you have, not to take anything away from him because Sire Gain still himself had a hell of a day, and we'll talk on that in a second. It's 4th and 1 for Boise State. They're in Georgia Southern territory, but they're not deep in it. It's in like the 40-something yard area, and you have Gaines back there. Why is Jeanty not there? I know if you have him back there, I feel like the coaches are overthinking this. They're like, if we have Jeanty back there, they're going to know that it's going to him. I don't care if they know it's going to him. It's Ashton freaking Jeanty. Even they knew he was going to run the ball all game. He had that 75-yard run. I think he had a 77-yard run too for a touchdown. Who cares? It's Ashton freaking Jeanty. Put him back there and let him run the damn ball. Let him run the ball. And then that also sparked Georgia Southern too. You gave them too many opportunities to spark life. You just kept allowing them chances to get back in the game. And Georgia Southern, to their credit, capitalized on every single one of those. Now, like I said, if y'all play this game next week, I think you win by 30. But props to Boise State as well. You go all the way down to Georgia to play an out-of-conference game week 1. You have a quarterback with Madsen, who a lot of people thought Nelson was going to start when he transferred there. But Madsen was pretty good. He had the interception, and I saw some fans, there's a conflicting thought on him. But I think your ceiling as a team is higher with Madsen currently. I mean, he was 22 for 31, 280 yards, a touchdown, and interception. He had some pretty damn good throws. Like, he was pretty good quarterback throughout that game, and it's week 1. This team is going to grow. You also had Camper, who had himself a day with 4 catches and 99 yards. But it really comes back to just undisciplined play from Boise State, which I think they'll clean up. I think it was just week 1 woes, and Georgia Southern was capitalizing on all of them, and a lot of it was coaching as well. Boise State just seemed to be going through the motions, like I said. But the 8 penalties for 90 yards was bad. Some of the coaching decisions, like I said, was bad. But it's a little bit of overthinking. The rushing attack was immaculate. 7 for 11 on your 3rd downs. I like that. And props to Georgia Southern, man. Hell of a game. They had no quit. They basically capitalized on every chance that you gave them. And they're not going to, if you're Georgia Southern, you're not going to play a running back like that again all year. You do play Ole Miss, but Ole Miss don't got a running back like Ashton Jeanty. Okay? And Georgia Southern, the way they performed, their quarterback was pretty good. And I don't know why that, I guess there's an emoji thing now built into my recording. But for Georgia Southern, there might be a bigger threat in the Sun Belt East than we believe. They get to play some good teams like James Madison, and you also get Troy in cross division. They could possibly spoil someone's season or have a better year in that division. However, for Boise State, and look at Oregon. You got Oregon this weekend. Oregon didn't look too great against Idaho. They weren't able to capitalize. They weren't good on 3rd down. They weren't good on their 4th downs. They couldn't convert really in the red zone too well. They better wake up, because I think both these teams, defensively, especially for Boise State, though, needed to wake up, but had a lot of week 1 issues. However, both teams have a lot of talent, and as we know, Boise State's been able to beat Oregon in the past before. It's going to be tough because I imagine Dan Lanning is going to have a hell of a week of practice for Oregon. But for Boise State, don't discount them out. Even them playing this game against Oregon close, even if they lose, is a win. Because Oregon's most likely going to be a playoff team, and last week was most likely just a week one weird situation. But this is Boise State's platform, because the rest of their schedule pans out. They do still have Washington State and Oregon State. They're both at home. The away schedule is not daunting at all, besides Wyoming. Things can get weird at War Memorial. It's Wyoming. It's super high up there. One of the weirdest home field advantages in all of college football. Dangerous. But I like the schedule. Portland State after Oregon, Washington State at home, Utah State at home, at Hawaii, at UNLV, who could actually be a really dangerous team, but it's not like they really have a home field advantage playing in their favor. San Diego State at home, who looked kind of bad this weekend before figuring it out. Nevada at home, who has looked actually pretty good, but at San Jose State, at Wyoming, and then you finish the year off with Oregon State. This is the weekend where Boise State has the chance to show everyone, and a lot of people finally got to see Ashton Jeanty and realized this summer I had a lot of people telling, oh my god, this is a Boise State running back? I was like, do you not know how many running backs Boise State has had in the past? Boise State has put running backs in the NFL consistently for years. This is a program that doesn't have losing seasons. This is a program that always performs well. And you're telling me you're that ignorant? You're telling me you love college football, you're a big college football fan, and you don't know that Boise State has been a running back factory, kind of? And that you love college football, but you don't know who Ashton Jeanty is? Dude's a top 5 player in college football. He's the best running back in college football. I'm glad everyone got to see that this week. He is the secret weapon that Boise State has and the key to disrupt college football. Get into the playoff, win a game, shock somebody. I'm just telling you, man, this team is going to be so much fun to watch. I think a lot of it, why it was close, like I said, was week 1 woes, undisciplined play. The defense should be able to clean up. If not, we'll see Oregon dismantle it pretty quickly, but they also have to stop your offense. And I think Madsen will probably be composed. Jeanty, man. And Gaines, behind Gaines. I forgot to talk about this. Later in the year, especially through conference play, there are going to be games where you're going to have to depend on Jeanty, and you're going to have to run him. But the thing is, with a player like that, that's what you want to do. He's that good. But you have Gaines as well, who showed himself an incredible backup and future running back, to have him to take some of that pressure. Not all the workload necessarily has to be on Jeanty throughout the year, which is huge, especially in this 12-team era now, where you can consistently put yourself in there when you've deserved chances in the past. But this is great. Boise State's such a fun team. I made a video about them in the off-season before Nelson was not named the starter and everything. But this is just a fun football team, man. And Boise State is a team that has always been underappreciated. They've always gotten less attention than they deserve, even when they have gotten attention. It's more so the like, oh, it's so cute, look at you go kind of attention rather than a respect thing. And Boise State deserves more respect, and Ashton Jeanty deserves everyone's respect.